Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Let's get to it.
Anthony for three. That one goes down, and the game is tied.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
The Yankees are champions of baseball.
Shaking and baking right here on the neophyte.
Trying to close the show. She was doing a great job of feeding. That is it.
Coming up, so KP, don't you regret not coming to the Knicks? Don't you regret not coming to the Knicks?
Game over. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
All right. Wow. That was a game. Woo! I am surprised that I woke up this morning with a voice. Some of it was affected. I'm kind of, at one point last night, I lost it completely. Surprised I got it back that quick because that was, I sat in 238 last night. And that was an absolutely amazing atmosphere. I mean, the stadium was, of course, loud and packed. It was like at 6:15 about. It was like about, 20-something minutes maybe before first pitch. I was looking up and I'm like, oh, it's like semi-full. It's not all the way full yet. Maybe like 75% at most. And then, then I lose track of time. I'm talking for a few minutes and then I look up and the stadium's all of a sudden, you look down, up, it's fucking packed. It's packed. And it never disappoints. There's something about New York sports in the postseason, whatever sport, whether it's at Madison Square Garden, the Knicks, the Rangers, at Yankee Stadium. It's insane. It's insane. I don't know what any adjective that I could throw out there just wouldn't do it justice. It's such an intense environment. Like every at bat, every pitch means so much in the playoffs, right? If you're in the crowd and you're at Yankee Stadium, like, you know what I'm talking about. After every pitch is thrown, the very second you hear the ball land in the catcher's mitt and you hear that pop, the crowd goes silent for like a half second. You can hear a pin drop because they're waiting for the call. Every time it goes silent. That's how much every pitch means. And when you're sitting in the bleachers, it's a mosh pit, It's a mosh pit. I mean, I was drenched. Every run that scores, you got to cover yourself because you're going to get wet with alcohol. People throw beer in the air every run, and it's insane. And you have to prepare for that. Like, if you don't like that type of stuff, don't sit in the bleachers in the playoff game because it gets wild. I was drenched with alcohol. By the time I got out of that stadium, I was sticky. It was a good experience. I'm saying that in a good way. That's the Bronx. It was a party in there. And when the last out is recorded, the second it's recorded, you hear New York playing on the loudspeaker. Sinatra plays, and it's awesome. And you got the multiple chants on the way out of the stadium. Yankees fans going nuts with every chant they can imagine. You have the Altuve chants, the Embiid chants. It doesn't even have to be relevant. You have the Go Yankees chants. You have the everything. It was amazing. So I was so glad to have experienced Game 1. The Yankees' first playoff game in a very long drought of 2 years. That's why I wanted to get tickets to the first game. It was a fun experience in the stadium. I'm not sure. I mean, I have an idea from what I heard on social media from a couple buddies texting me that they did not like the TBS telecast. I heard people were giving Costas shit again. I heard people thought Ron Darlin was, biased against the Yankees, of course. I've never really cared too much, and I actually always think Yankees fans exaggerate when it comes to analysts and commentators. I think Smoltz gets too much hate. I know that's a hot take. I actually didn't mind Costas last year when I listened to him, so I'm gonna see I want to see what he sounds like this year if he's gotten any better. I know that's also a very unpopular opinion, but I heard that TBS lowered the crowd noise on the telecast so they can hear Costas and Darling easier. So that's not really cool. Like, the whole point of it is to experience the Yankees atmosphere as much as you can through the television. You kind of want that noise to be, 100% natural. I heard that, obviously Sterling's back. John Sterling's back for the postseason on WFAN. So I heard a couple of his calls. I heard the Glaber Day call. That was on point. And then, he's showing some emotion in the, or some passion in the end there with his Yankees win call, kind of chuckling towards the end, which was really funny. But this was a win, man. This was some game, a game with many frustrations, and I was nervous. The crowd got silent at points in this game when we were kind of thrown off at like what was going on. The Yankees certainly looked like a team that had 5 days off, and that's why the Royals screwed up. The Royals done screwed up in this game. You had a game for the Yankees where Garrett Cole was bad, where Aaron Judge was worse, Giancarlo Stanton was bad. The Yankees were not great defensively at points. You had some very, very poor base running a few times throughout the night. And the Yankees still won the ball game. So now, if you're a Kansas City Royals fan, you're entering Monday's game tomorrow with Reagan's, instead of being 1-0, you're 0-1. That was a huge game for them, and the Yankees were literally trying to give the game away at points, and they still walked away with the win. And that's the sign of a team that's bound to get the job done. Just saying, knock on wood. And I credit Aaron Boone, because I thought Aaron Boone was brilliant last night. I thought he was good. I thought he did everything he was supposed to do. I thought he pushed the right buttons, and that was my concern, right? One of my concerns, we had 3 guests on the show the past week talking about some of our concerns for the postseason. I kept hammering, it's Aaron Boone. Is he going to make the right decisions? But I thought the lineup decisions he made were, questionable to me at the time, but they paid off. So you got to credit him. Verdugo, putting him in there over the young Dominguez, it worked. Putting Cabrera in there at first base against the righty Michael Wacha worked. He looked good at first. He had a big hit. I thought the bullpen decisions paid off, right? That was my major concern. And, the decisions he made were controversial at the time, but they paid off. He went to the right guys at the right time. Going to Holmes right after Garrett Cole, it worked. Something we were all very scared of. It worked. Or he actually went to Holmes after Hill. But, he had Holmes warming initially. But everything he made, every decision he made paid off. Now we'll see what happens with the game 2 lineup. I saw a report that they're going to ride the hot hand and go with Verdugo versus the lefty Reagans. Even though it's going to be lefty on lefty, they're not going to go Dominguez. They're going to ride the hot hand, which, you know what? Fine. I'm good with that. You have to think with Stanton being a liability on the base paths. I mean, twice last night. Twice. Couldn't score from first on a friggin' double. And then, the hard hit ball in the infield, he can't even beat out. So he costed them 2 runs just by being beyond slow. I wonder if they're going to try to get Dominguez at bats at DH and Stanton sits. But Stanton has to show that he can hit to stay in this lineup. He's hit in the postseason in the past, but so I think if he's not hitting, if a few games go by and he's not showing signs with the bat and he's not hitting the ball hard at least, I think they might have a quick trigger and might get Dominguez some days at DH. And I would expect John Birdie to play first. I think they're going to play John Birdie at first tomorrow just because, again, you have Reagan's going. So they're going to try to get the right-hander out there on the try to get the righty on lefty matchup at the plate. John Birdie at first, we'll see. First base is going to be, whoever's out there, it's going to be a little scary regardless, whether it's Cabrera, Rice, Birdie. But I thought Boone pushed the right buttons. And let's get into this recap because the Yankees won this game 6-5 over the Royals yesterday. You had the righty Cole going up against the righty Michael Wacha. The Royals score first with a sac fly in the second inning from Tommy Pham. Gleyber Torres with the home run in the third to put the Yanks up 1. The Royals respond with the home run in the fourth to put them up 1. Then you have the fifth inning where Wells and Volpe draw back-to-back walks with the bases loaded. The Yankees go back up by 1. Sixth inning, you have the big Volpe E6. Royals score, they're back up 1 run. Bottom 6, that's when Austin Wells with the big RBI to tie the game. And then Verdugo with the big game-winning hit in the 7th inning, which eventually the Yankees win this game 6-5. So, 1 second here. That's how they won. The bats, listen, 6 runs, 9 hits, 3 extra base hits, 8 walks, 11 strikeouts, 2 for 13 with runners in scoring position. They had 3 runs in 4 innings versus Michael Wacha, who had a good changeup going in this game. We'll talk more about that later. And then against the KC bullpen, 3 runs in the remaining 4. That bullpen has sucked all year. I had a feeling that was going to happen. I told everybody around me in the stadium we're going to get to this pen, and the Yankees did. They were working at-bats all night very effectively. They were walking, and that helped them get the 6 runs. So for a bad performance offensively, like the vibes in the crowd, at least in the bleachers where I sat, was that the offense was pitiful. It seemed like that, right? Because it just a lot of missed opportunities. They should have had 15 runs with the way they were setting themselves up. But for a bad performance, they still scored 6 runs in a playoff game. And that's great. So at the end of the day, they scored behind depth and Juan Soto, right? Soto led the team in hits, 3 for 5, a double. He also had a nice assist, throwing a runner home to eliminate what could have been the first run of the game. So they win behind their depth. We'll talk about that in a second. Pitching-wise, the Yankees go 9 innings, 5 runs, 3 earned runs. Cole goes 5+. The pen goes 4 innings. The Yankees used, I think it was Hill, Canely, Holmes, and Weaver in this game. Canely was the only relief pitcher who wasn't sharp, I would say. His changeup was kind of all over the place. He walked the number 8 hitter. But other than that, pen to the job. The Yankees were able to save Cousins and Hamilton for tomorrow. But yeah, the Yankee depth won the game, right? And, I hate to say it. I don't hate to say it because I like hearing myself be right. But I did tell you so. And I think this is going to continue. I think the Yankees have the depth to get it done. People are always afraid. All year long, people have been bitching about the Yankees' depth for whatever reason. When they had, I think, 6 guys in their starting lineup produce a 100 OPS plus or higher. So I was never afraid of it. I always thought they had the pieces to get it done behind Soto and Judge, and that's exactly what they did. Verdugo had a big night. Torres had a big night. Wells, 1 for 3, couple RBIs, couple walks. Jazz Chisholm, base hit, stolen base, made a nice play at third base after the Volpe error. Kind of cuts in front of him, says, no, this is mine. Cabrera, the double, made some nice picks at first base. The Yankee depth was good on both ends. that's not something I'm worried about. This narrative that it's only Soto and Judge is crazy, but I understand why people might be misinformed because Soto and Judge are so historic that it makes everybody else look lackluster. When no, like Jazz has been very good. Cabrera, Wells, Torres has been good in the second half. So, and Verdugo stepped up, which we'll talk about too. Garrett Cole didn't step up. Garrett Cole was pretty bad. Garrett Cole has to be better. If the Yankees want to win a championship, they are going to need a lot more than what they got from Garrett Cole. 5+ innings, 4 runs, 3 earned runs, 7 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 1 home run, 80 pitches, and the no decision. You could just tell he was unsharp from the get-go. Maybe it was from the long layoff. Heading into this series, we were talking about that this week, how I'm a little worried about the 5 days, or for Cole, it's a little more than 5 days without having to start. During the regular season, if he misses just 1 day, or if he gets just an extra day of rest, rather, like that throws him off. So he's a guy where he's a creature of habit. You're wondering if that bothered him. And he was he was unspectacular from the very get-go. The Royals were barreling everything. On the night, he allowed 11 total hard hit balls. So he was just giving up hard contact all night long. For those who don't know, statistically a hard hit ball is 95 miles an hour or higher off the bat. He allowed 11 of them, which is a lot. He got very few swing and miss. I don't think he got his first swing and miss until the 3rd inning maybe. But it was just very poor location, very bad sequencing. The fastball was very flat, which has been an issue at times this year. There's obviously the fastball. He's lost a little something on it. He's got a little less velocity. The movement's probably not the same. And it's mostly the poor location. When you're throwing 95, 96 versus when Garrett Cole was, at his peak, throwing 97, 98, 99, you leave that 95, 96 in the middle of the zone, that's going to be hit around more. And I thought he's been going way too much fastball. He went a lot of fastball in this game. He hung his off-speed pitches in the zone a lot. So that just led to a lot of hard contact. Right off the bat, top of the first inning, you got some really bad indicators of how this would go. Massey with a 103 miles an hour fly out to Soto, just missed the track or the short porch. It's the first pitch he threw of the game. 96 mile an hour fastball, middle in, just missed a home run. Bobby Witt, the next at bat, 108 mile an hour fly out to Aaron Judge, who makes an excellent play in center field going back on an angle. 95 mile an hour fastball, he leaves it middle up. He leaves a 96 mile an hour fastball low and out to Vinny Pasquantino, who lines out 105 miles an hour to Judge to end the inning. So just 3 hard hit balls to start the game. And then it finally bit Garrett Cole top 3 when the Royals scored first. Salvi Perez rips a 104 mile an hour leadoff base hit off of a hanging slider. Then he walks Yuli, where he just lost the zone with his fastball. Melendez takes the plate next and rips a 100 mile an hour base hit to right field. That was off of a hanging slider. That's when Soto makes the nice throw to home plate to get the out. But the next at-bat, Tommy Pham drives the ball to the outfield, picks up a sac fly. It was a 100 mile an hour hard hit ball on a 93 mile an hour cutter up and in. So that puts the Royals up 1-0. Top of the 4th, the Yankees give him a lead, 2-1, but he gives it right back. You have the Perez line out to Verdugo on a 95 mile an hour sinker up in the zone. Yuli walks again. He lost the zone with the curveball to him. And then Melendez gets a 95 mile an hour four-seam fastball, and he just punishes it for a 2-run home run to left center field, 95 mile an hour off the bat. It's 3-2 KC. After that, kind of got into some trouble. Pham rips a 108 mile an hour single. That's off a hanging slider. He goes 97 up in the zone to Garcia, who picks up a base hit off of that. Blake comes out to visit, and then he escapes by getting Massey to fly out to left field, but he hangs a changeup in that at-bat. And then top 6. The Yanks give him another lead. They're up 4-3, and he gives it right back again. The first at bat of the inning, Yuli's up, and he gives him a hanging slider, and he rips it for 106 mile an hour base hit. So that's when Garrett Cole's pulled for Tim Hill, who allowed that inherited runner to score, in part because of Volpe not being able to make a play that he absolutely needs to make. So Cole was unspectacular. My hope is that he gets it back in his next start. If they go to 4 games, then that'll be his game. Luke Weaver was the opposite. He was incredible for the Yankees last night. He finishes with an inning and a third, no runs, no base runners, 3 strikeouts, and a 4-out save. Top of the 8th, he enters with, I think, a runner on first base and 2 outs. He gets Garcia to strike out swinging. He goes 4-seam, changeup, 4-seam. And then top of the 9th comes, he's got the heart of the lineup to face in a 1-run game, and he goes 1-2-3 with fucking ease. He gets Massey to strike out swinging. He goes 4 straight changeups to put him in a 1-2 count. And he goes 4-seam up and in, a changeup out of the zone, and then he goes 4-seam up and in again for strike 3 swinging. Bobby Witt's up next. He gets him to strike out looking. Weaver falls behind 3-0, but then he goes 4-seam, changeup, 4-seam, changeup, 4-seam to get him looking at strike 3. And then to end the game, he gets the ground ball to Cabrera at first base. Weaver was incredible. He is their closer. It's official. Constantly getting 4-out saves. His post-game interviews are always entertaining. They were once again. I don't know why Meredith's using terms like inkling, but he found it funny. He was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And then they asked him what it felt like to get the 4-out save. He's like, I would imagine one would feel great in that moment or something. He's an interesting character, and I love it. So he was spectacular. And you know what? The Yankees had some unsung heroes last night too. Some guys you didn't expect to be spectacular were also spectacular. So I just had to pause the recording there because I wanted to check on the Phillies-Mets game. And I'm in a good mood because the Phillies were down 3-0 and they just tied the game up. So that's awesome. Where were we? Unlikely heroes last night, man. Yeah, like a lot of them. 3 of them, I would say. Right? 3 guys who have given the Yankees fans headaches all season long. 3 guys who have received tons of criticism. Tons of heat. You know, and it got ugly on social media. And those guys are Verdugo, Holmes, and Torres. And 3 of those guys, all 3 of them were pivotal to last night's win. The Yankees don't win that game without those 3 doing what they did. Clay Holmes, his final line on the night, an inning and 2/3, no runs, just 1 hit in the infield. Right? He was very effective with his sinker. He wasn't abusing the sweeper, slider, whatever you want to call it. Like, that's what he was doing when he was struggling. He was going way too much sweeper. But he found confidence in the sinker last night, and he was using the hell out of it, and it was working. Top of the 6th inning, you got a runner on first base with 1 out. He comes into the game. He gets Garcia to line out. Then he allows the infield base hit to Massey. So you got first and second with 2 outs. But then he goes sinker low to Bobby Witt, and he gets Witt to ground out, who was 0 for 5 in the game. Top of the 7th, he goes 1-2-3. Vinny Pasquantino at the plate. He flies out. Again, he goes 2-seam up in the zone. Salvi grounds out. In the next at-bat, he goes sinker low and in. Then he goes sinker low and in to Yuli for a fly out. And that was it for him. So Clay Holmes, if he's going to be back, and if he's going to be back to having confidence in that sinker again, that's not only going to get him those ground ball outs, but it's going to make the sweeper more effective. So that's going to be key. It's just how he uses his pitches. And his playoff numbers, you know, small sample size, but they've been good. In 7 playoff games now, he's pitched 9 2/3 innings, no runs, 1 inherited run is scored on him. But he's gotten 15 ground balls and 8 strikeouts. So Clay Holmes is the key to that bullpen. If they're going to go to him in high leverage, which it seems like they are, and he continues to do what he's doing, that's just one more weapon. You know, you already have Weaver. You've already got Canely. You've already got, I have, what's his name? Hamilton. I've got faith in Hamilton. if Cousins is healthy, like, you got a lot of weapons there, and now you're adding in Clay Holmes, who can be effective in the early innings, in the front of the bullpen. That's big. That's very big. A guy who keeps the ball on the ground. Now, you got to worry about the defense. For a guy who gets ground balls in the infield, I've talked about this before. I'm worried about how the Yankees shift. Again, last night, you have Volpe shifting close to second base. So you got a big hole between third and second for a guy who throws two-seamers away to lefties. It doesn't make sense to me. That's a base hit through the infield. You got guys who aren't great at charging ground balls. So I'm a little worried, especially with Rizzo not at first base anymore, how that's going to work for a guy who relies on contact to get outs. But again, if he can get the sinker and sweeper in sync, he can get swing and miss too. That's Clay Holmes can strike a batter out. But yeah, he's building up a nice sample in the postseason. Alex Verdugo, another unlikely hero. Big night for him. I mean, he was the guy of the night, in my opinion. We're going to tip our cap in episode and, whatever. By the way, we're doing episodes every game. We're going to try to do an episode every game. If I didn't warn you that, if I didn't warn you yet. I know we said every 2. We're going to try to get to an episode every game. But I would tip my cap to Verdugo if we were doing that. But we're going to do it at the end of the series. Tip our cap to the best Yankee of the series for each group. But Verdugo was definitely the player of the game. Bottom of the third, he picks up the leadoff base hit off of Walker. That leads to the Glaber home run to the short porch. Top of the fourth, the Royals are up 1. They got guys on first and second, 2 outs. He makes a nice catch, sliding catch in foul territory to escape the inning. Bottom 6 picks up a leadoff base hit versus Long. That leads to the Wells base hit off Lorenzen. Bottom 7, he picks up the go-ahead base hit that scores Jazz Chisholm after that stolen base. The controversial stolen base. So his final line, Alex Verdugo goes 2 for 3. That's 2 base hits, a walk, 2 runs scored, and an RBI. So he deserved it, man. He was getting roll calls all night in left field. As soon as he picked up that second hit, the roll calls started coming, and they were never going back. Just constantly, every inning, between innings, getting Doogie chants, and that's amazing. All love, and I was part of it. I was in the middle of it. For the guy who is so pro Dominguez, where I was ripping Verdugo for months towards the end of the regular season there, I was leading the chants. I'm proud of him, man. I put videos on my Instagram of those Doogie chants. And it is so amazing how that can change. But that's how the Bronx works, man. If you do it in the postseason, the 162 games of garbage can be completely forgotten. It's kind of like the opposite of Judge, which we'll get to. But do it in the playoffs for us, man, and you're a hero. And he was last night's hero. And Alex Verdugo, if you look at his playoff numbers, they're also pretty good. Another small sample size. I think it's 12 games, 51 plate appearances, but he's batting .333 in the postseason. .412 on base percentage, .467 slugging percentage, .878 OPS, 4 extra base hits, 7 RBIs, 6 walks, 3 strikeouts only, just 1 double play grounded into, a stolen base, 7 runs scored. Unlikely hero number 2. Another unlikely hero, the third one of the night, in no particular order, Gleyber Torres. Loved his at-bats all night. He had some really good takes. Bottom of the first against Walker, he had an excellent 2-2 take where he spits on a low changeup. Did the same thing in the bottom of the fifth. Walker gives him a 3-2 changeup. It's low and out of the zone. Could have been called a strike, but he takes it. Ninth pitch of the at-bat. He takes it, and I think that's when he drew a walk. His final line on the night. 1 second. 1 for 3, 2 RBIs, 2 walks, and that 1 hit a home run. And his playoff numbers as well, pretty good now, man. This is a pretty large sample size. 32 games, 134 plate appearances. He's batting .282 with a .373 on base, a .479 slugging, which means he has an 852 OPS, 11 extra base hits, 19 RBIs, 17 walks, 26 strikeouts, which is a 19% K rate, 6 stolen bases, and 20 runs scored. He has had a good postseason. He's had good postseasons. I know he struggled last year, but he had a really strong 2019. I think 2018 he was good. He's been good in the playoffs before. Last couple, the 2021 wild card game he was over, and then 2022 he struggled. But if he has another good postseason, I said it before in the podcast, last episode, or maybe 2 episodes ago in one of our previews, I wouldn't mind bringing him back because I'm bringing back as many playoff performers as I can. Guys who have a resume of consistently doing it, yeah, you're coming back. Aaron Judge's resume is going the wrong direction in terms of his postseason hitting. And last night he stranded some more runners. He was 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts and a walk. The Royals were attacking him with changeups. And in the past, Aaron Judge has struggled with changeups, especially versus right-handed pitchers. Bottom of the first inning, Judge comes up. You got first and second, nobody out against Walker. And Walker gets him the strikeout swinging on a changeup low in the zone. Bottom of the 5th inning, he did manage to draw a walk, but in that at-bat, there were a couple pitches he should have punished. He missed a hanging curveball on a 2-0 count that he took for a strike. And then he missed a 97-mile-an-hour fastball right down the heart of the plate. He fouled it off. Bottom of the 6th, again, first and second, 1 out versus Lorenzen. He strikes out swinging on a 1-2 changeup low and inside. So that's a pitch he's going to have to figure out, man. They're going to attack that with him. They have the weapons in their bullpen, in their rotation, to get Aaron Judge. It's not really a great matchup for him, the Royals. But that's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. He has to get it going. And you're starting to think, is it mental at this point? Because he's got to know. It's a large sample. Like it's 45 playoff games now where he's across 203 plate appearances, batting .206 with a 758 OPS. Because, 758 is not terrible. But for Aaron Judge, you need that to be a lot higher. Because he had, again, 2017, 2018, he had moments in 2019. But it's been the last 3 postseasons. Since 2020, 18 games now, including yesterday's game, he's batting 135 with a 545 OPS and a 34% K rate. That's not going to cut it. We need Aaron Judge to be Aaron Judge. Does he have to be 60 whatever home run Aaron Judge? 58 home runs? No. But he has to be Aaron Judge. Be a guy who slugs. You have to slug. Otherwise, the Yankees are going nowhere. How many games can they possibly win where Judge is a complete zero? It's got to come, A-Rod's first Yankees postseason, it started with a couple of base hits, just a couple singles in game 1 versus Minnesota. And then after that, he went on a tear in the LDS and then in the LCS. On a tear that postseason. So simplify things if you have to, just pick up a couple base hits, and maybe it starts there. But Judge has to get it going, and I want to end with that because that's the most important thing to me. The Yankees are going nowhere until Aaron Judge goes somewhere. So he has to start hitting again, or else they're in trouble. And that's it. That's all I have. We're not going to go too long. It's only one game, so there's not much to I don't want to overanalyze. But game 2 is tomorrow. You got Cole Reagan's coming in. So Yankee lineup struggles versus lefties. And you got the lefty Carlos Rodon opposing him. So big start for Rodon. We will see what he's made of. I've said multiple times now this is my X factor because I can see Rodon having an amazing postseason where he gets Yankees fans behind his back, every single one of them. And I can also see it going the other way. So that's all I have. We're going to wrap it up when we return from our break. We'll get to our trivia, and then we'll wrap it up after that. So stay with us here on BD4, episode 719. Be right back.
Hey there. Thanks for listening in so far. If you enjoy this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much. You can follow us on social media as well. On Instagram, we're at BD4Pod and at Rob J. Carbone. On X, we're at BD4Pod and at RJCBD4. And on Facebook, we're BD4. If you're interested in our website, just go to www.bd4blog.com. You can subscribe to our blog on there right on the front page. Just like on the podcast, we cover Yankees, Knicks, and MMA. Also on our website are the links to the different platforms for the podcast. Thanks so much.
Whoops. Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born.
Thanks for listening to BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA, Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion.
All right, let's wrap this up with our trivia. All right. So, our trivia question for this episode is 7/19. Yesterday was the first time the Yankees and loser Mets won a playoff game on the same day. Since when? Just give me the year. Yesterday was the first time the Yankees and loser Mets won a playoff game on the same day. Since when? So let me know the answer wherever you can reach me. If you get the answer correct, I will give you a shout out in the next episode in front of all 2 of my listeners. But folks, I appreciate you all tuning in. We are about 40 minutes in, a little less than that. So we will wrap it up right here. Episode 719 in the books. The Yanks win a tight game 1 at home. They steal one, they fight, and again, multiple lead changes, 5 lead changes, but they get the job done at the end despite not playing their best, which should be a good sign if you're an optimist. If you're a pessimist, maybe not so much. But game 2 tomorrow night, it's an hour later, I believe. I think it's 7:38. Weird ass times. I hate this day off. It's such a why no other LDS series or the LCS. I know the NLDS, the Mets had 2 games in a row. I don't know what the other series are doing, but like, why are the Yankees having this weird random off day in between 2 home games? It's such, MLB is so horrendous. With everything they do, they're a fucking joke. And I could go on a whole other rant right now, but I'm not going to rant because my voice is now starting to go out again, as you can tell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut the hell up, wrap this up, drop this episode online, and then that'll be that. So, folks, I'll see you after game 2. Go Yankees.
You can follow.
This episode was brought to you by Anchor.
Hey there! If you stayed the entire way through, we thank you immensely for it. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you come back for the next episode real soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, download these episodes, and share them with your friends as well. BD4 is a 5-star podcast simply because of you. And we'd like to keep it that way. Have a wonderful day. Go Yankees and go Knicks.